And we just prepped out 180 tall 3.5-inch pots for our cucumber transplant. I have some extra ones here that I want to bring into the transplanting and grow out, just in case I have some that don't make it. I like to have some backups here. Basically, even if I have a plant that's older, like these guys here, if they don't take to transplant well and they start to really slow down, I'd much rather have a young, healthy plant than a plant that's just not taken very well. So I will switch those out if I need to. But we're gonna start to transplant. Basically, I'm just gonna wet these down, which will take a minute because it's brand new media. Then I'll go in, I'll make my hole for the plugs. I'll pop my plugs out, put them in. Pretty easy process. With the cucumbers, I'm still burying them up to dirt level. I'm not sinking them down very far. Maybe just, you know, 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch below their plug at the moment, but not much further than that. Whereas with my tomato starts, we will sink them quite a bit deeper than the top of their plug up to their first branching. So yeah, let's get them going. All right, so we're at my inner potting bench here. I have 5 10x20s, each with 18 of my 3.5s in there. It's gonna give me 90 plants. I do need to end up with 75. So planting 90 is gonna give me enough plants so that I can pick my healthiest 75 and move on. So that's kind of how I do it. I planted 100 seedlings to do 90 transplants to get my best 75. And because these plants are gonna be my plants for the entire season, I definitely wanna be sure that I'm picking the best of the best to run me through my entire season. So all I'm doing, I already moistened everything down. I'm just gonna take this Sharpie here and make a hole. Because they're wet, they're going to do that pretty easy. And I'm just gonna go all the way down and do that to all of these and get myself ready for the plug to go in. It doesn't have to be perfect. Everything's gonna be kind of moist, so you have some room to be able to, you know, move it around if you have to come time to get your plug in. These are pretty deep cells, so I am making a decent size hole in these 3.5s to move forward. I do like using the 3.5 talls instead of 4s. That way I can fit more plants. Real estate, you know, is valuable. So also why I'm only doing 90 to get my best 75. It's preferable to maybe do more sometimes, but this is just what we have room to do and still fit all the tomatoes and everything in the same situation. So here's our pickling cucumbers. You can tell they are just ready to be out of here, and they're gonna be pretty happy for this transplant. I'd like to give them some more room, probably pushing it a bit really on these. So, but they made it over 3 weeks in these cells, which is kind of where I needed them to be. I need them to make it another 5 in these. So we're really pushing the boundaries on time, but I think it's gonna work out well, and we're gonna have some nice transplants. So just so you can kind of see the size plug that we're working with here up against my hand. Again, these are those really deep cell 50s. They're pretty healthy, not a lot of yellowing going on. They're not circling bad. Some have a little bit more roots than others. This one is pretty substantial coming down. We are, you know, beating them up a little bit doing the transplant, but for the most part, when they're still super loose like this, it's not that big a deal. And basically, we're just going through, and I'm taking a screw and popping out the bottom and then just kind of grabbing it ever so slightly like this as I'm popping it out. I already popped this one out. So, and just to show you, even after splitting them, there's still a double in here that snuck past us. So I am just gonna clip this one here and plant it, and just kind of take the biggest one out of these two. I'm gonna keep going. Just wanted to show you kind of the size of these plugs that we were working with. Kind of laugh with you about. I mean, you try your hardest, but I still miss my doubles every once in a while. Alright, well, I'm going to do this last one here so that you can kind of see the pace as it's going. I am overhanging this tray off the bottom here, so you can kind of see. That way I'm really easily able to come in here and just kind of gently get this in there to poke it out. And then that's when I'm lifting up at the same time. I do like to have that little opportunity to do it that way. So now you can kind of see just the pace that we're doing it, and kind of how it's all going. I'm not ever pressing down real hard on anything as I'm putting them in there. We are watering from the bottom. It's a little wet. On these trays, so we're not really going to settle this dirt on top, but when they go into their big pots next, that's when we're going to sink them down to the right level. And you can see just how nice these little plugs are. Really, really nice. Maybe went a bit long, but most of them are perfect. Some of them are a bit wild. So cucumbers are very quick. I think looking at the way this has gone, next season we'll probably start cucumbers 1 or 2 weeks later than our tomatoes, and peppers maybe a week before our tomatoes. Kind of these 3.5s, they're going to be really, really mature by the time we get to our last frost where we're able to go in that greenhouse. I'm really hoping to get some heat in there so that I can get in just a bit early. So on this one I kind of got to hold it with my stomach so that we can get them out. See, I'm not really even pulling. Most all the force is coming from underneath. And as soon as I can grab the soil cube, I do that. So I'm just kind of getting a little pinch on it so I can grab it out. Not ideal to do it this way. It's going to be hard to plant that next row, but probably just going to flip them. How far did I get? That's just so I'm not reaching over the already planted plant to get to those last 4. And so that's pretty well a tray. Nice, beautiful trays going in there. Like I said, we really have 5 or so weeks before we're able to get outside. So you know, look at even these plugs that don't have anything in there. So this was just roots from other plugs growing into these. That's how cucumbers are. Same on this one. Look at all those roots. Those are from the roots surrounding that plant. Well, that's pretty well it. We're gonna get these in there. I'm gonna wait another week or so on my tomatoes. They weren't pressing quite as bad on the plugs, but they are getting kind of taller. Most of them are like 4 or 5 inches already, so they do need to come out, but I want them to basically try to stretch my time. I need 5 weeks before I get out to the greenhouses. So thank you. See you on the next one. All right, so here they are out under the LED. Here you can really see kind of where they were yellowing out a little bit better. But a lot more room, a lot more space than they had. Now they're really like in a true 4x4. Now they're gonna get good light, really good root space. Got these already prepped for these next ones we're gonna transplant. Like I said, I think we're gonna bring about 90. And I'm gonna need to take some of these to get to that 90. So yeah, pretty quick, pretty easy, pretty straightforward. And I'll show you what they look like here in about a week or so.